Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this public meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. The time is now 1:03 on my watch, and I call this meeting to order. As we begin, as we do with every meeting, I want to remind everyone that public comments can be submitted to the CRC in writing via our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting written comments to the CRC is tomorrow, Friday, July 29th at 5 p.m. And with that, Director Blake, can you please read the notice of the public meeting?
Madam Chairwoman, this is a meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting was noticed in the Asbury Park Press, Atlantic City Express, Bergen Record, Courier Post, and the Trenton Times in December 2021. Information regarding the virtual nature of the meeting due to the COVID-19 pandemic was posted in publications and on the NJ-CRC website. The meeting time and location has also been posted on the website of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission and with the Office of the Secretary of the State.
Thank you. Can you please take roll call?
Commissioner Barker.
Present.
Commissioner Delcid-Coso.
Present.
Vice Chair Delgado.
Present.
Commissioner Nash.
Present.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Present.
All members of the commission are present and we have a quorum. The first order of business is for the commission to go into executive session to discuss legal and investigation matters. These are discussions that are not shared with the public. We believe today the executive session should take about 30 minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session.
Moved by Commissioner Barker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Delcid-Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion to go into executive session? Hearing no discussion, all those opposed, all those in, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? The ayes have it. And the commission will now go into executive session. As Director Blake mentioned, we expect the executive session to last approximately 30 minutes. So we will leave the live stream running during that time, and we will return once the executive session is done. So the time now being 1:06, we can expect to resume the public. All right, now we are all here. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Executive session has now ended. It went longer than we had originally anticipated. So the time is now 2:35 p.m. and we'll resume the open public portion of this meeting. Director Blake, can you please announce the next agenda item?
The next item on today's agenda is approving the minutes of both the commission's open session and executive session held on June 30th, 2022. The minutes have been shared with the members of the commission prior to this meeting.
Thank you. If there are no requested corrections to the meeting minutes, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the meeting minutes for June 30th.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, moved by Commissioner Delcid-Coso and seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid-Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on today's agenda is the chair's remarks.
Thank you. So I have just 2 items to share today. First and foremost, I want to remind everyone of the announcement shared during the last public board meeting that the CRC plans to move our public board meetings from virtual only to in-person this fall. Starting with our September board meeting. The remainder of this year's regular meetings are anticipated to be held in person. I'll be working with Executive Director Brown to finalize logistics for those board meetings. Details for the in-person meetings will be publicized after they are confirmed so that the public has all the necessary information. Secondly, I want to share that information on a few special topics of interest will be publicized soon. Draft rules concerning consumption areas and edible cannabis products are forthcoming. With respect to workplace impairment, Executive Director Brown previously stated that guidance from the CRC is in the works. That guidance is still under legal review, but we do expect to release it very soon. We know there's a tremendous amount of interest in all 3 of these issue areas, and not everyone feels the same way about them. There are varying opinions on how consumption areas, edible products, and the workplace should be addressed. So it is the intention of both the chair and the executive director to have the rules on these issues informed by a variety of stakeholders before they are finalized. But fear not, they are indeed coming. So we invite everyone to stay tuned for more announcements on those topics. And that is all I have for today's chair's remarks. Director Blake.
Madam Chairwoman, may I have the floor, please?
Vice Chair Delgado, is this with respect to the chair's remarks? Or if there's another matter, then we'll have to
In respect to your remarks about the September schedule.
You have comments? Go right ahead, Vice Chair.
I move that we amend our September schedule and move our meeting from September 22nd forward.
Vice Chair, I think your motion is ill-placed in the order of things. So sticking to the call of the orders of the day, right now this is just the chair's remarks. It's not an open floor, but I would encourage you to save your motion for the appropriate place and time after the commission has stuck with the orders of the day. So after the conclusion of already planned businesses, then we are free to make that motion and bring that new motion to the floor.
Madam Chair, I appeal the decision of the board.
On the orders of, sticking to the orders of the day, is that the appeal?
I appeal your decision based on, I wanted to make a motion to amend the meeting per your discussion earlier on the schedule.
So, all right, the chair's decision to encourage, really this is not a decision, it's direction to move the motion on a new matter to the end of the conclusion of the commission's ordinary matters of business has been appealed. And so the decision of the chair is being appealed. The question is, shall the decision of the chair be sustained? And so by a vote, we'll just do an oral vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the ayes have it and the chair's decision is sustained. So
Wait,
Vice Chair
hold
Delgado,
on.
you are encouraged to
Chairwoman
re-chair your
Waynu,
floor.
Chairwoman Waynu, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Nash, yes.
I was confused on your question. I am in support of Commissioner Delgado's appeal.
Okay, so.
Can I just weigh in here? Is this, just a point of clarity, is this on the merits of Vice Chair Delgado's potential motion, or are we talking about procedural order? I just want to be clear, Madam Chair, are you still giving Vice Chair Delgado an opportunity to bring this motion up at a different time in the meeting?
Absolutely, Commissioner Barker. It is the
Okay.
latter. It is not a question on the merits. It is a question of procedure. And so the chair's decision was to stick with the orders of the business of today, sticking with the agenda. And at the end of at the conclusion of the commission's planned agenda, that is when new matters of business can be proposed.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
Okay, so the opportunity for Vice Chair Delgado to make his motion is being directed by the chair to come up at the end of the conclusion of our ordinary course of business. So
I'll yield with that. I'll yield that to the chairwoman. I'll bring it up at the end.
okay, so
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for the opportunity.
certainly. So Vice Chair Delgado is withdrawing his motion to appeal, and the chair's decision stands. So that concludes the chair's remarks. Director Blake, can you please announce the next agenda item?
The next agenda item is the Executive Director's report.
Thank you. Executive Director Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Next slide, please. So today, just going to report to the board, members of the public, specifically on update on where we stand with the review and approval of permit and license applications. So next slide, please. Just reviewing our licensure process here. In order to get an annual license to operate a cannabis business, there's two pathways that license applicants can file. The first is a conditional application, and the second is an annual license application. For conditional applications, they first file the conditional portion. If approved, they move into the conditional license phase, and then they file again to convert from a conditional license to an annual license. If submitting annually, they can submit off the bat for an annual license, and those are reviewed. Per our notice of application acceptance, conditionals are reviewed before annuals, and that's why to date, and even today, we've only had conditionals to approve, as we're still working through the lion's share of those applications. Next slide, please. I did want to talk to the board and members of the public about how the two processes differ, because one is longer than the other. And in the pre-application webinar, I did share that we expected, we do anticipate that we'll get to under 90 days on conditional reviews, particularly, and we have on some, not on others, but largely we would need more time early on because of the immediate rush of applications after that first application window opens, the first being on December 15th of 2021 and the second on March 15th of 2022. So for conditional applications, our review process is really four-part. First, the application submission, they're reviewed for priority, whether they're a social equity business or a diversely owned business, where they fit in there. Then they're reviewed for completeness and scored in accordance with that priority and the time in which they submit. Then there's an initial look as to the qualification under our regs and overall regulatory compliance. And then if deemed sufficient to be approved, then it's recommended for approval by the commission. Next slide, please. So our annual licensure process, and this includes for conditional conversions as well, does contain additional components. And I wanted to highlight this because conversions and annuals will take additional time to review because of this. There's the application submission and priority review. There's completeness and scoring, same as with conditionals. But for annual license applications pursuant to the statute and pursuant to our rules, if scored sufficiently high, applications will then move to our investigation phase where applicants will submit fingerprints to get a criminal history check run. There will be an investigation into financial sources, other matters, probity pursuant to our rules. That particularly pertains to financial sources. Then there's a final review for regulatory compliance, and then they are recommended for approval by the commission. And then following approval, because once you are approved for an annual license, then you can begin to operate. The final step is an inspection, and then the license is issued pursuant to any approval issued by this body, the commission. So conditionals we can move quicker on, and we are, and annuals will take a little more time. Conditionals are also reviewed in accordance with that priority before annuals. Next slide, please. So as of today, as of yesterday, July 27, 2022, we've had 1,182 applications submitted. And this includes both conditional and annual. About 80% of them, give or take, are conditional. Of those applications, only 64 applications out of that bunch have not been given a priority review yet. So that means there are only 64 applications that haven't been sorted in accordance to that priority, and they're all recent submissions. Beyond that, I'm pleased to report to the board and thank you to the tremendous staff that are working on this, and thank you to our Deputy Executive Director and our Director of Administration, who have both been doing an outstanding job here, as well as all the staff reviewing applications. I myself am reviewing applications when I can at this point. We only have 284 applications that need to undergo a completeness check and final scoring, and that's out of the full 1,182. We knew that we would receive a ton of applications at first, and we're devoting the resources needed to get through that initial rush so that new applications coming in are managed much more in accordance with the timeline we've outlined, i.e. under 90 days for conditionals, a little more for annuals and conversions, but still an efficient process. So I am confident that we will make our way through the remaining 284 over the next month or so, next couple months, and that we'll be over this initial rush of applications. So for any applicants that are listening here, if you haven't heard yet, you will hear soon. Annual applicants will receive notice through the licensing portal when they move to the investigation stage, because they will receive outreach from one of our investigative staff. But really tremendous job by the team, and we're moving through these applications significantly fast. So next slide, please. On the medicinal side of the equation, the board issued 44 awards in the 2019 RFA. Out of those 44, and that was done in October and December of last year. Of those 44 awardees, and there was one reissued earlier this year. There's been one permit issued so far. Our team has initiated 258 background and financial investigations. 145 of those have been completed. And the incompletes at this point are really primarily due to individuals involved with the applications being non-responsive to particular requests. But nonetheless, applicants awardees in that RFA have timelines they need to stick to as far as when they can get operational and receive a permit. But we are making tremendous progress on that front too, to expand access and ensure that the awardees from those 2019 RFA are able to begin operating as soon as they do what they need to do on the implementation side to begin to receive a permit. Next slide, please. And then the last two items, I did want to note after our last meeting at the end of June that our new permanent rules will be published on Monday, August 1st in the Register. There will be public comment information on the CRC's website. That's nj.gov/cannabis. So any interested parties who wish to submit public comments and they have 60 days to do so, can do so via information that will be posted on our website. So please check on Monday. If you are interested in reading those rules, check the Register, check our website. And then also, if you wish to comment, the information will be available on the CRC's website. Lastly, the chair mentioned that workplace impairment guidance is coming, so I don't have to cover that here. And that concludes my executive director's report for today.
The next item on today's agenda is consideration of an update to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission's plan of organization.
Thank you, Director Blake. Director Brown, can you please provide the board with a summary of the need for an update to the CRC's plan of organization and the proposed change to the plan? Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what we propose doing is to do two things. Number one, restructure the Office of Compliance and Licensing. So that was originally formulated as one office within the commission. Since we've been staffing up and working on licensing and then compliance and investigations, it's very clear that they both necessitate their own distinct staffs, distinct directors, and distinct processes. They have to work hand in hand and very closely together. But we really need strong leadership over both those functions, and we have it. And so we propose to just split the Office of Compliance and Licensing into two new offices, Office of Licensing and Office of Compliance and Investigations. Secondly, and this is, I think codifying something that's just naturally occurred, which is our deputy executive director has taken on a role of really helping me manage pretty much all of the offices of the commission. And so formalizing that role as the deputy executive director and having every office but the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and individuals who are within the Office of the Executive Director report first to the Deputy Executive Director, who's focused primarily on operations and really keeps this place going, the lights on, and all of us happy and fed and in good spirits. So that's really the overview of the plan of organization. If you go to the next slide, this presents the new proposed org chart where we have the commission, the executive director, the deputy executive director, and then the new Office of Licensing and Office of Compliance and Investigations. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning the update to the NJ-CRC's plan of organization?
I move that we adopt the resolution, Madam Chairwoman.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Cosa. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Cosa,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainum.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a rule waiver to allow home delivery or curbside retail sales of medicinal cannabis items.
This is a proposed waiver of New Jersey Administrative Code 17:30A-10.12. Director Brown, can you please provide the board with a summary of the need for waiving this rule and the impacts that such a rule waiver would have?
Yes, so the proposed action today essentially takes previous waivers, one for home delivery and one for curbside retail, curbside pickup that were originally developed and issued in 2020 during the initial rush, of the pandemic of COVID, and streamlines them into a single waiver and extends them in perpetuity by action by the board. Home delivery is now in operation. Curbside retail has been helping out for really since March of 2020, and so we propose to make this permanent, streamline both those previous waivers into a single waiver, and again make them permanent by action of this board or until rescinded or amended.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning the waiver of rules to allow home delivery and curbside pickup of medical cannabis items?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the resolution.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a rule waiver to reduce the price of medicinal cannabis patient registration.
This is a proposed waiver of New Jersey Administrative Code 17:30A-2.1. Director Brown, can you please provide the board with a summary of the need for this particular waiver and the impacts that the waiver would have?
Absolutely. So a little over 4 years ago, via the Governor Murphy's Executive Order number 6, the Department of Health issued a report and began implementing a number of recommendations, one of which was to reduce the fee of registrations from $200 every 2 years to $100. It was cut in half. Furthermore, that those provisions also expanded eligibility for discounts. Recognizing our commitment to continue to reduce prices for patients and improve affordability, this waiver would further reduce that registration cost for patients who don't qualify for discounts, for which seniors, veterans, and those on government assistance are eligible, only pay $20 every 2 years. But we propose lowering the registration cost for all other patients who don't qualify for discounts for $50 every 2 years, cutting that in half, and thus continuing in that vein to improve affordability for our medical patients.
Thank you, Director Brown. Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning the waiver of rules to reduce qualifying patient and primary caregiver issuance and renewal fees?
Madam
Madam
Chair, I
Chair.
move to adopt the resolution concerning the waiver of rules to reduce qualifying patient and caregivers, the issuance and renewal fees.
Moved by Commissioner Del Coso. Do I have a second?
I second, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, may I please say something? It's just
Commissioner
I
Barker,
really.
you have the floor on the discussion on the waiver of rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, in the spirit of rule waivers that are specific to patients, I just ask us to really consider expanding the edible options that you touched on for patients. I know we have to go through the rule process for the adult marketplace, but I do believe we can strongly consider a waiver for patients. I think expanded edible options would really alleviate a lot of the ailments for a lot of our patient community and provide the medicine in a form that we have been told is needed. And so I really hope we can consider a rule waiver for expanded edible options for our patient community. Thank you.
Commissioner Barker, does your comment relate to the motion that is at hand here? The waiver of the rules to reduce
the general
qualifying.
idea of the rule waiver, Madam Chair. So I thought it was appropriate to bring it up at this portion of the meeting because it spoke to rule waivers for our patient community.
Understood, Commissioner Barker. The discussion is limited to the item that is currently on the floor. And the question at hand is the waiver of the rules to reduce qualifying patient and primary caregiver issuance and renewal fees. Is there any discussion on that item?
Oh, no, I share
Your point, yeah, your point is well taken, Commissioner Barker.
Thank you. And my apologies if that wasn't exactly crystallized to this specific motion, but I did think it was important to address it.
Understood. Is there any other discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the delegation of authority for review of and decision-making on proposed management services agreements and financial source agreements concerning personal use cannabis businesses, applications for an alternative treatment center identification card or a cannabis business identification card, applications for a change of location concerning alternative treatment centers and personal use cannabis businesses, proposals to engage in home delivery or curbside retail sales of medicinal cannabis items or personal use cannabis items, and the issuance of written notices of violation to alternative treatment centers and personal use cannabis businesses upon violation of NJ-CRC rules.
Thank you. This is an item that concerns 5 kinds of actions that are being proposed to be delegated to staff. To streamline today's discussion of these items, however, the commission will consider these items together. So Director Brown, can you please provide the board with a summary of the need for each delegation and the scope of the work that would be done?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the commission, for considering this. So we've been, following the adoption of the bylaws earlier this year, which sets up a clear protocol and pathway for delegation of authority. We've been reviewing processes, myself, our chief counsel, at the commission, things that staff have handled in some cases for over a decade, and trying to put the pieces in place pursuant to those bylaws to ensure that staff have the authority to continue to do those things. Additionally, there's new processes coming online, such as the issuance of cannabis business identification cards and other things, processes that are underway as part of license review, i.e. the review of and decision-making on management services agreements and financial source agreements that are submitted as part of license applications. And then so that's kind of one bucket. And on the cannabis business, or on the ATC identification cards specifically, I'll note that in the original plan of organization adopted by the commission that is in place, the Office of Compliance is specifically tasked with accepting applications for alternative treatment center identification cards and approving or denying those applications pursuant to authorities in the statute and our corresponding regulations. Similarly, pursuant to the personal use cannabis business regulations, we will be launching sometime in the coming months cannabis business identification card issuance process. And so this would not only codify what staff have been doing with the alternative treatment center identification cards, but also extend that authority to cannabis business identification cards in the future. We have thousands upon thousands of employees working in this state, and it's critical that we be able to move them forward quickly and efficiently, and do so in a way that allows them to start working in these facilities as quickly as they can, and as quickly as we can review them either provisionally or following a criminal history background check and issue those cards. With the management services agreements and financial source agreements, we look at those as part of license applications. This is only pertains to an initial review that essentially these documents would still come to the board for approval as part or denial as part of the approval of or denial of a license application. And lastly, there are review and decision making on applications for change of location, but only if it's in the permitting or licensing process. We've recognized, and the board has already considered a lot of changes of location this year, that things change as far as planning, particularly for businesses in this industry. And as hard as it is to find real estate and get it, sometimes businesses have to act very quickly. And so we want to make sure we can get back to them in a timely manner on whether or not they can change this location. Change of location really just requires, making sure they have municipal approval, making sure it's in the same region as they were awarded in the case of medicinal, and then paying a fee. And so that's one. Secondly, now that the home delivery curbside sales waiver has been made permanent, so thank you for that. we propose to allow staff to review and approve those applications as well. It's really just about assessing compliance with either the waiver on the medicinal side or our regulations for curbside and home delivery when it comes to personal use cannabis. And then finally, staff issue written notices of violation to ATCs. And so, that is also included in the plan of organization. And we're just asking to codify that under the bylaws that were adopted earlier this year. We have a highly professional staff that are well equipped to handle all of these and do so in an efficient manner. And I urge the commission to support us in continuing to serve this industry and get this market going in a very efficient manner.
Thank you, Director Brown. I'll entertain a motion regarding the resolution concerning the delegation of authority to act on proposed management services and financial source agreements, applications for ATC and cannabis business identification cards, applications for changes of location, proposals to engage in home delivery or curbside pickup, and violations of commission rules. Is
Madam
there a
Chair,
motion?
may I have the floor?
Commissioner Nash.
I move to table this resolution for delegation of authority.
All right, there's been a motion made to table the consideration of this particular item for delegation of authority. Is there a second on the motion to table?
Madam Chair, I second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on the motion to table this item? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote with respect to the motion to table the resolution regarding delegation of authority?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
No.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
No.
The move to table passes. The motion to table passes.
All right, so that item will be reconsidered at another time. Director Blake, can you please announce the next agenda item?
Madam Chair, may I have the floor?
Commissioner Nash, is this with respect to the next agenda item?
No, it was,
Or the
I just
previously
wanted to
discussed
touch
item.
on the delegation of authority.
You may have the floor, Commissioner Nash.
Thank you. I want to say that I am in support of delegating authority, but with the understanding that the commissioners will have full and real-time access to the items being delegated. I think it's important in ensuring that the board upholds its commitment to social equity, labor, and other mandates set forth by the legislature and the governor. I cede the floor back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Director Blake, can you please announce the next agenda item?
The next item on the agenda are medicinal cannabis applications for a location change.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please share with the board a summary of the applications that staff have received and staff's recommendations for action on those applications?
Absolutely. So we've received a number of applications for location changes. One is CRC Therapeutics, and you can go to the next slide. That's a move from Pennsauken to Collingswood Borough. We've received one from Community Wellness Center of New Jersey, LLC, and that's to Jersey City, from Jersey City to Jersey City. And I think Community Wellness Center is on here twice. That's a mistake. It's correct in your board packet. There's a third location change, which is from Sicklerville to Gloucester Township. All of these have included a letter seeking the location change, received municipal approval, have executed a letter of intent for site control, and have paid the fee, and therefore are all recommended for approval.
Director Brown, can you please, for the sake of the members of the public watching, can you just clarify this last, or this third entity that is seeking a location change, just the identity of those?
Yes, just give me one moment. I
No
have to
problem.
flip through my packets. It is in fact Honey Grove South Corporation.
Thank you very much, Director Brown. With that, I will entertain a motion at this time concerning the resolution to concerning the approval of applications for change of location for 3 awardees from the 2019 request for application process.
Madam Chair, I move to consider the approval of location changes for 3 ATCs.
Moved by Commissioner Barker. Is there a
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Santoso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Knapp,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayne.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is medicinal cannabis applications for name change.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide us with a summary of the applications that you received regarding name changes?
Absolutely. We've received 4 applications for name changes, all operating in medicinal cannabis. The first is the law offices of Juliana Diaz, and that would be changed to Sweet Spot Dispensary. Greenhouse Wellness of New Jersey. Proposed new business name is Brutes Roots. Next slide, please. Community Center of New Jersey LLC, and the proposed, and those were, the first 2 were name changes. These are proposed alternate names, which are authorized under medicinal cannabis rules, but however not authorized under personal use cannabis rules. The proposed alternate name for Community Wellness Center of New Jersey is RIPT, and then for JG New Jersey, the proposed alternate name is Block. So in all these cases, they file a letter with a request, filed alternative name or a name change with the New Jersey Department of Treasury, Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services, and then also noted what activity they'll be conducting under those names. No concerns with any of them, not opining on what I think of the actual names, but you know, they've met all the regulatory requirements and therefore are recommended for approval.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt a resolution concerning the approval of applications to change the business name or conduct business under an alternate name for these 4 entities?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt this resolution.
A second.
Moved by Commissioner Del Cid, seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Santoso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Knapp,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayne.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is personal use cannabis applications for conditional licenses.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide the board with a summary of the applications that you've received for a conditional license?
Absolutely. So pursuant to the process that I laid out earlier, our conditional licensure process, these applications have been submitted. They've been ranked in accordance with priority. That priority has been verified, whether they're a social equity business or diversely owned business. They've been reviewed for completeness. They've been scored. There's been an initial qualification, limitations review, and investigation. And all these applications were found to be complete, scored sufficiently high, were verified to have the necessary information submitted in the application to qualify as a social equity business or diversely owned business, and have been deemed initially as part of this review qualified to hold the conditional license. And so therefore we have 79 applications that are proposed for approval here, recommended for approval by this board. And I will ask that that we flip through the slides and hold them up there for at least 15 seconds each, just so we can see the names. Also note that these names are going to be posted online following the meeting. And then if approved, applicants would receive a final agency decision after a final review. So please go ahead and display the names of the conditional license applicants who are proposed for approval by the board. Thank you very much. And with that, turn it back to you, Madam Chair. These are all recommended for approval by the commission.
Thank you, Director Brown. And just for awareness for the public, I believe we had previously posted on our agenda on our website that we would consider 81 applications for conditional license. There was a technical issue that needed to be fixed, and so that's how we ended up with 79 here today. So at this time, do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning conditional license applications for Class 1 cannabis cultivator, Class 2 cannabis manufacturer, and Class 5 cannabis retail licenses?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the resolution on the conditional licenses for all.
I second that motion, Madam Chair.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado, seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Knapp,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayno.
Yes.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is personal use cannabis certification. The next item on the agenda is alternative center applications for expansion into personal use cannabis.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide the board with the summary of the certification materials received by staff and recommendations on those certifications?
Absolutely. Thank you. So today we have two certifications for expanded alternative treatment centers. They have been, the requirements of these certifications are that they have municipal approval, proof of sufficient supply to continue to meet patient need after expansion. They have plans to ensure patient access and plans to address social equity and safety. Next slide, please. Our consideration is prescribed by regulation, and it's focused on patients, the number of patients enrolled statewide, patient enrollment at the specific ATC, inventory both statewide and at the ATC, sales statewide and at the ATC, the current medicinal cannabis canopy needed to serve enrolled patients, and the ATC's production capacity. Next slide, please. We have two candidates for consideration. Both have previously been approved for expansion by this board for different sites. The first is Columbia Care. This is their second cultivation facility, which was approved, I believe, in either May or June for medicinal. They are seeking approval to begin personal use cannabis operations there as well. Secondly, it's Verano's Zen Leaf Neptune, which is a dispensary which would be approved to expand to a Class 5 retailer if approved here today. Next slide, please. And so we'll start with Columbia Care. Based on staff review, we recommend approving them for expansion. Columbia Care has previously been approved for expansion at their other sites. We recommend accepting the certification of adequate supply, patient access, and accepting what they submitted for municipal compliance and approval. And Madam Chair, I hand it over to you for the vote on Columbia Care.
Thank you. So these candidates will be considered one at a time. So with respect to Columbia Care New Jersey LLC, do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning the acceptance of certification for the ATC Columbia Care New Jersey LLC to expand cultivation operations to the adult personal cannabis market?
Madam Chair. Go ahead,
Madam
Commissioner
Chair,
Nash.
thank you. I move to approve the motion for Columbia Care to expand their cultivation facilities.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes,
The motion passes.
thank you. And now with respect to Verano, Director Brown.
So Verano, we also recommend approving for expansion at their Neptune location at Zen Leaf Neptune. This would be for a Class 5 retailer license. Recommend accepting the certification of adequate supply, the certification of patient access, and municipal compliance and approval.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution concerning the acceptance of certification for ATC Verano to expand retail operations to the adult personal use cannabis market?
I move that resolution, Madam Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this matter?
Madam Chair, may I please have the floor?
Commissioner Barker, for discussion on the motion to approve Verano to expand retail operations.
Yes, thank you. Expanded ATCs should be abiding by the reporting requirements and the final agency decisions that you received upon your expansion into the personal use market. This is critical information for us. You've expressed your dedication to being responsible actors here in New Jersey, and we strongly look forward to working with you to realize the equitable and diverse commitments that you shared in your expansion applications. Thank you.
All right, is there any further discussion on this matter with respect to Verano? Hearing no further discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Nay.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes,
The motion passes. Next, we have the open public comment period of our meeting.
thank you. So after the public comments, believe Vice Chair, you'll have the opportunity to present your new business for consideration by the board. As we begin the public comment period, I want to remind members of the public that you can submit comments during and after this meeting in writing via our website. The deadline for submitting written comments is 5:00 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, July 22nd. Written comments are shared with commission members and are made public along with the meeting's minutes. So we will hear from individuals who have signed up to speak in the order they signed up. Public speakers are limited to 3 minutes apiece, so please keep your remarks focused on matters that pertain to the commission's work or items that the commission should be aware of. Director Blake will call out the names of speakers. When it is your turn to speak, Director Blake will ask you to unmute yourself. I do not believe we have anyone joining us by phone. In order for our staff to unmute individuals who did sign up to speak, your full name or your phone number as it appears on Zoom must match the name you used to register to speak. I see that we have a few Amandas, a couple of Allens with no last name. So please double check the way your name is presented on the Zoom platform. I see a few Erics with no last name. We want to make sure that we give an opportunity to speak to anyone who has properly registered with us, and we can only do that if we can confirm that you are indeed a registered speaker. So if you need to change your name on the Zoom platform, please exit the Zoom meeting and then immediately relaunch it, which should prompt you to enter your name. We won't be able to correctly identify you as a speaker if your name does not match what you used to sign up. Director Blake, with that, can you please call upon our first speakers?
I will be calling the names in groups of 5. If you hear your name, please just raise your hand. Again, the name must match the name you registered with, or I will not be able to identify you. First 5 names are Daniel James McIntyre, David Fetter, Ron Riley, Alan Truskowski, Domingo Rivera. Again, Daniel James McIntyre, David Fetter, Ron Riley, Alan Truskowski. So sorry to mispronounce the name, and Domingo Rivera. If any of those individuals are present, please raise your hand. Alan, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for recognizing me at this time. I'm going to cede my time and I will reach back out for the next meeting. Thank you.
Before you go, Alan, would you please pronounce your last name properly for the record?
Z is silent. Truskowski.
Thank you very much. David Fetter, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Mr. Fetter, you're having some feedback. Could you turn?
70. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this, can you hear me now?
Sound clear, yes, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me today. I am very pleased to see the addition of another 79 additional applicants into the roster. I'm a founder of a company called weedlaw.com, and we're representing a number of companies applying for licenses. Who have applied for licenses, both annual as well as conditional, and a number of applicants and potential applicants are, I think this is probably consistent for anyone who's trying to apply for licenses in New Jersey, is that they're finding issues finding local approval. Now, the state application process is challenging as it is, and I think that there's a major problem that people are facing in terms of securing properties in locations that are compliant with local zoning. While they may be able to find properties that are compliant with the state statute, the local ordinances and the processes that they've created, very often, which are very expensive to even submit an application that may not be approved, is forcing a lot of people to take on leases and secure properties and locations under circumstances that are very inequitable. It's a big challenge that people are facing. And I don't think that it was the intention of the CRC to create such a process a two-tiered process where there's a state application that's, challenging in one way to be compliant, and then simultaneously a local application, which is extraordinarily challenging, sometimes even more arduous than the state application. And the costs alone, there's some of these states, some of the towns are requiring $15,000 just to submit an application. So I think that if there's a way to address this, that the CRC should really try to weigh in on this, make it more equitable, make it more attainable for people to find properties in towns that they shouldn't have to compete for such limited locations in town. In some towns, there's just a few properties only that are even available for use in the cannabis business, even if they're compliant with state regulation in on this, and allow for applicants to secure properties, especially the micro business licenses, that if the town has opted out, they don't have any other options. They can't apply locally. So I really applaud the CRC's efforts. You guys have been doing an amazing job moving this whole industry forward, and hearing that regulations are coming along related to edibles is really welcome news. And I wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you. I will repeat the other three of the five. Daniel James McIntyre, if you are here, please raise your hand. Ron Riley Jr., Domingo Rivera. Not seeing any of those individuals present. I'll go to the next five. Suzanne Denova, Cheryl Marie Powell Esquire, Rishikesh Vilmadal, Brennan McGrath, and Madison Wayno. Susan Denova, Cheryl Marie Powell Esquire, Rishikesh Vilmadal, Brennan McGrath, and Madison Wayno. Are any of those individuals present? Brennan, go ahead. Brennan, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'd just like to say at this point in this process, it feels as though the emphasis that you have on conditional application priority above annuals is becoming a bit of a detriment to the small business owners seeking to enter the space, particularly those who have spent countless hours putting together extremely lengthy annual applications. It's extremely concerning that the lack of annual licenses being awarded thus far gives preference to the already established MSOs by allowing them to expand, profit, and further dominate the market even further. Why not show support for New Jersey small business owners and start awarding annual licenses to those who have put in a tremendous amount of time, effort, and money to meet all of your requirements? In most cases, these applicants have acquired property, are making payments on said properties, and continue to not be able to open up business on said properties. As a final note, I'd just like to point out how rude and disrespectful it is to all in attendance that you start the public meeting at 1 p.m. and then immediately break for an hour and a half, leaving everyone waiting indefinitely. It's my suggestion that you enter these meetings prepared to start at the designated time. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Here, Rishikesh Valmadal, go ahead. And I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Would you please pronounce your name properly for the record?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Rishikesh Pramadalal, and we did have a question before this meeting, but we will be submitting that question in writing to the CRC. Thank you. I'd like to yield the rest of my time.
Okay. Again, Suzanne Denova, Cheryl Marie Powell Esquire, Madison Wayno. Not seeing any of those individuals present, we'll move to the next five. Evan Manaresi, Diana McElroy, Sean McAgar, Pat Brady, Daniel Kessel. Evan Manaresi, Diana McElroy, Sean McGar, Pat Brady, Daniel Kessel. Pat Brady, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to speak today as a conditional licensee for manufacturing and cultivation license. In regards to the way the regulations are currently written around in 1730 and section 7.14. It talks about a 365-day time window from approvals to the final inspections. And it has language that says the CRC shall revoke your licenses should you not be prepared for the final inspection. Excuse me. The reason I bring it up today is because I've spoken with 5 general contractors who have all agreed that it is impossible to construct our building within 12 months. And the reason is not because of the size of the project, but rather the supply chain. So there are certain materials that will take 12 months to even acquire. So this 365-day time period to become to the point where to get to the point of ready for operations is just unrealistic. So I asked the CRC to pay attention to this language that says that they shall revoke your licenses and understand the position that that puts all of us in, anybody who's trying to do any sort of construction. What is the intent here? Is the intent to get people to operation, operators who have been approved, to get them to the point where they can sell their products and provide the state with their products? And if so, then I would ask that you change and adjust this language, because if we get 90% completed and the 365 days comes up and the last 10% is contingent upon powers that are out of our control, the supply chain being a big factor of that, will the commission strip us of these licenses? And what that means is we will have wasted years of planning, as well as, in our case, tens of millions of dollars into a facility that ultimately will not be approved for operation. So please, again, it's section 7.14 in 1730, this language around the CRC shall revoke your licenses should you not hit this 365-day window, which every general contractor I've spoken to says it is impossible to achieve. So please, I ask you to pay attention to that as you're rewriting these regs and shed some light on what the true intention is. Thank you.
Thank you. Evan Manaresi, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Evan Manaresi. I'm the owner of Bass River Buds. I applied for an annual micro-business cultivation license back in December 15th. And to be honest, my question was largely answered, I hope, by Executive Director Brown's comments earlier about reviewing, at least initially, those applications within the next month. So I guess I will end my comments here and hope to hear from somebody at the CRC within the next month in regards to our application that's now almost, I think it's 230 days almost since we applied. So we anxiously await more information from the CRC and look forward to working with you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Cheryl Murray Powell, Esquire. Go ahead. Cheryl?
Yes, hi, this is Cheryl Murray Powell, Esquire. I'm a cannabis agricultural and dietary supplement attorney. I also work with CSI. We do screenings for commissions as well as licensees. My comment is in response to one of the revelations from the last CRC meeting with regards to incomplete applications and the high number of incomplete applications. So I wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on the percentage of people who had been formally incarcerated or had charges that were that submitted applications and were successful. That was a high percentage, and that really reflects the efforts of the CRC. With regards to incomplete applications, I do run a nonprofit, the Justice Foundation. We do provide application support for free for legacy operators. So if there are legacy operators who submitted and they are in that category, I just want to make sure they know that there is support at the Justice Foundation, justus.foundation, because there's another Justice Foundation. So we want to provide that, that information about support for legacy operators. So that's basically my comment, and great job on getting a high percentage of submitters who had been formerly incarcerated and successful submitters as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next 5 names: Tim Andrencini, Jason Lacey, George Bowley, David Mattis, Jade Sancho Doser. Tim Andrencini, Jason Lacey, George Bowley, David Mattis, Jade Sancho Doser. Any of those people are present, please raise your hand. Jason Lacey, go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. So I'm a disabled veteran, and I've been listening to the meetings for several months, going on a year, I think, at this point. And so far, the reporting on the minority categories has left a lot to be desired from a veteran standpoint. The veterans licenses issued have been reported on the same line item as the women's category, and it's leaving a lot of disabled veterans disenfranchised with their prospects for obtaining a license, feeling as if it might have been carved out for us to be a priority group, but we certainly don't feel that we're getting the attention that maybe we deserve. So I would hope that in future meetings that the commission makes it a point to report veteran and disabled veteran licenses, how many are being awarded, and how the commission is working to serve this constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. Jade Sancho Doser, go ahead.
It's Jade Sancho Doser. Thank you for the floor. And thank you, Jason, for your service. And I'm sorry that the medical program seems to be failing you. I am a patient here in New Jersey. I've been a patient for numerous years. I have worked at ATCs. I operate education programs. I operate in many states. And I just have to say that this whole adult use program rollout has been a train wreck for patients. I have a few examples. I was told by staff at Garden State Dispensary earlier this month in Woodbridge that they wouldn't be able to provide me my government assistance discount. There was no record of it, which I know is not true. I've been a patient for many years. So I was forced to pay full price. And in that same vein, I would like to address the price gouging. So if Garden State Woodbridge increased the price of their select squeeze, 3 bottles now cost about $70. Well, it used to cost about $70 for 3 bottles, 350 milligrams, right? So now you're only allowed to obtain 1 bottle of select squeeze, 100 milligrams for $38. Do the math. That is $114. How is that fair to patients? It does not matter if you are paying tax or not. That is obscene. I was also told that my online order was ready, and yet I still had to wait in the parking lot for almost 30 minutes, then to be verbally assaulted by the security, trying to check me for being a medical patient. And then I had to come inside and then still wait for my prescription. So this is another concern of mine. Instead of having patient-only hours, which are in the wee early hours of the day, how about we have adult use only hours? How about we set a daily recreational cap for customers until we can get this all sorted? Now, if monetary gain wasn't the case and patients were the priority, this would have been set into place. So I do truly hope that a daily recreational patient cap might be a consideration within the next few months, especially while this is all getting sorted out, because there is not enough medicine for patients. Lowering registration is great as well, but what are you going to do about the doctors that are dropping out of the program like flies? Now we have no one to help us. Fines are a slap on the wrist for MSOs, but that is not enough. There needs to be more action, and we need grassroots cannabis, and we need it now. That's all I have to say. Have a good day.
Thank you. I would invite anyone who has a complaint with an agency about, particularly about patient access, please contact our customer service. There's a email on our website and the phone numbers on our website. We invite you to let us know about those as soon as you can. Diana McElroy, go ahead.
Hello, CRC and everyone else listening. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. First, I want to say that the CRC seems to be under a lot of stress and pressure. I can't imagine. You guys noted that you had over 1,000 applications come through. Some of that is reflective in this meeting, and I'm sorry you're under that pressure. Two, I want to congratulate all the winners. Amazing. I know how hard this path is, so congratulations. And I would like to bring up patients myself. I am a patient. I'm someone who educates on the medical benefits of this plant. And I actually promote it to seniors, to anyone actually who's looking to alleviate body pain or inflammation or multiple reasons for using it. And I share an experience I had with regards to going in as a patient. I'm not going to out the dispensary at the moment because I hope they've learned, some of them have been fined, and that they'll do better in the future. But I went in line. I was standing waiting to be seen as a patient, and they actually pulled people from the adult use line and put them in front of me. I had a product recommended to me after talking to the wellness associate and going over what I needed. He went in the back and came back and said, you know what, we're out of that. So I pulled this for you. That's not the way patients are supposed to be treated. There's a reason we go over what we're trying to accomplish with this medication. And the wellness associates, they're not selling Skittles to people. And especially with people with health conditions, they're looking for specific strains, they're looking for specific results. And I think the education is really needed as far as how these, to use an old term, bud tenders, but they're really wellness associates, go forward and help people coming, especially for the first time, who don't have a voice, who are a little hesitant. And I think that's really, really important. I'm also going to touch upon the fact that there is some good coming out of this industry. I love seeing the formerly convicted, the expungement events that have been happening. I want to give a shout out to my friend Michael Hoffman because he's been on the forefront of this. So there is some good that's coming out of this industry, and hopefully lives are going to be changed, and social equity, is going to be really acknowledged, and predatory practices are not going to be accepted or allowed within New Jersey. Thank you for your time, and continue the great work.
Thank you. The next five will be Seth Gossin, Francis Balciccio, Lorenzo Richardson, Cesaria, Malin Irvin, Seth Dawson, Francis Balciccio, Lorenzo Richardson, Cesaria, and Malin Irvin. If any of those individuals are present, please raise your hand. Frank Balciccio, go ahead. Please pronounce your name for the record. Frank, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Francis Faltricchio. I'm a lifelong resident of Jersey City. And my concerns and my neighbors' concerns evolve around the location of dispensaries and their impact on the neighborhoods around these dispensaries. My neighborhood is made up of mostly 1 and 2 family homes. Residents are multiracial and multi-ethnic for over the 76 years that I've lived here. The neighborhood is a mix of senior citizens, families with young children, young professionals who have taken advantage of the location of Jersey City in an area providing easy access to New York, metropolitan New Jersey, and the public transportation hubs like Newark Liberty International Airport. Placing cannabis retail in residential neighborhoods with schools and houses of worship should be denied. Why? Well, there's research that's been going on for a long time in the country, where studies have shown that cannabis has been legal for a long period of time, that the safety concerns of dispensaries in the neighborhood. Researchers from the Ohio State University conducted a 3-year study in Denver. Their findings conclusively show that legal marijuana shops are linked to higher levels of property crime in nearby areas. Researchers found that adjacent areas saw about 84% more property crimes per year than neighborhoods without a nearby marijuana store. What are the plans to protect the neighborhoods from this 84% increase in crime? A 2019 study from the University of Colorado examined longer-term statistics in neighborhoods. Their findings indicate that the presence of even 1 medical or recreational marijuana dispensary has been found to be associated with statistically significant higher crime and disorder in the neighborhood, including robbery and aggressive assault. A study by Connolly, Pisa, and Hayden from City University of New York focused on the areas around a dispensary to address the impact of the business to crime in the nearby area. They utilize street segments, which are smaller spatial areas, a neighborhood, than the studies that add significantly to the relationship between dispensaries and the crime at a higher localized level. The opening of a recreational dispensary resulted in about a 18.8% increase in property crimes. Recreational marijuana dispensaries demonstrated a criminology effect locally that the neighborhood around the dispensary. Another study by Hughes, Shabbat, and Jameson, University of Colorado, this study concluded that there were significant increases in rates of neighborhood crime and disorder. The results of the study showed that except for murder, the presence of a dispensary was associated with statistically significant increases in neighborhood crimes. Marijuana dispensaries may contribute to crime by
Mr. Faltricchio,
I'm sorry.
That's your time. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Lorenzo Richardson, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Lorenzo Richardson. I am speaking as a taxpayer and lifelong resident of Jersey City, New Jersey, not as a school board member or representative of the Jersey City Public Schools. I grew up in the Montgomery Gardens housing projects and personally lived through the effects of the marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and crack epidemics in my community. I am not speaking against legal cannabis, but I am bringing concerns about where recreational cannabis dispensaries should be appropriately located for the respect and well-being of my city and the neighborhoods where I and my fellow residents live. The state is aware of the federal 1,000 feet of a school law selling controlled substances. Why is this law not being applied to protect the residents of my city as you allow legal recreational marijuana to be sold? My city elected officials decided to allow dispensaries within 200 feet of residences and schools. This creates a negative influence for children going to and from school every day who we educate to stay away from drugs. There should be consistency with the federal law and the mountains of statistics that they have on drugs, which prompted the 1,000-foot rule to be initiated. We have communities all over New Jersey who are doing the right thing by placing dispensaries on commercial highways where it's more appropriate. It's not appropriate to allow dispensaries to be located near schools, childcare centers, and residences. These are places where you go for education, peace of mind, and safety. Please reconsider your regulations to only allow dispensaries along commercial highways and other commercial and industrial areas. Urban cities like mine and other towns do not need dispensaries near our schools, churches, childcare centers, and homes. We have enough to deal with on these streets in these days and times. It's crazy that we can't fund the DARE programs in schools to keep children off of drugs, but we can allow people to sell and smoke marijuana so close to us in our community and not think that this would have a negative impact. Many residents are also not aware of these dispensaries getting approved. You also need to fully disclose all the owners and operators of the LLCs opening these dispensaries. We need transparency on the ownership to ensure that people who were done wrong by the drug laws do actually benefit and not use these casualties of the drug war as a front for others to benefit from. Also, please consider requiring city officials to sign a disclosure statement preventing them, their family, and associates from benefiting from these dispensaries. At the end of the day, I had to, and you should also, look at the potential effects that drugs near schools, childcare centers, churches, and residences could normalize its use. I don't want this to become an unintended consequence. I thank you for taking time to listen to my testimony.
Thank you. The next 5, Mang Yip, Shirley Patel, Kevin Odenwalder, Ronald Murphy, Nate Mel, Michael Cosgrove. Mang Yip, Shirley Patel, Kevin Odenwalder, Ronald Murphy, Nate Mel, and Michael Cosgrove. Any of those people are present, please raise your hand. Shirley Patel, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shirley Patel on behalf of Blaze Responsibly. CRC, just commending you on the continued work that you guys have been doing. I know it's a lot. I wanted to talk about 2 different things, one for medical patients and the other about conditionals. So I thank you, Commissioner Barker, because I agree with what you had said earlier about requesting a potential rule waiver for edibles for medical patients. I believe somebody else also talked about this. Edibles and topicals represent less than 2% maybe of product SKUs that are available on the market for medical patients. And I recently picked up one of the edibles that was available, a lozenge. And when you look at the ingredients, the first ingredient listed is sugar. I mean, you have sugar, you have water, and then you have CBD and cannabis oil listed. And so there's high amounts of sugar. These are not ideal edibles for a lot of medical patients that have sugar issues. While they taste really good, the effect isn't there as far as what patients are looking for medicinal values. Topicals continue to be scarce. There's maybe 2 on the market. One is CBD high, the other one has more of a ratio, but I just continue. I'm sorry, I sound like a broken record, but I just want to keep pushing forward for having more product SKUs. We need edibles, we need topicals. Patients, if you go to doctors, the majority of doctors don't even recommend consumption via inhalation using vapes or flowers. So as much as I love my flower, for conditions that I have and for other medical patients, we really need the tinctures, the edibles, and the topicals. And then I'll comment quickly on the patient process. I won't name the ATCs, but I had several visits recently at several locations where I wasn't sure what the process was and waiting because I waited about 20 minutes at one facility. There was a lady with a walker that was with me as well, and they were taking batches of rec consumers. So there was a dedicated POS, but there wasn't a bud tender behind that POS. So I'm not positive what the patient access plans are outside of those priority hours. And lastly, with respect to the conditional timeframe, there isn't clear consensus on when the conditional license phase begins, because in the regulations, section 17:30-7.6A1, it says that it begins on the date that the conditional license is issued to the applicant. Does that mean like today, for example, it's issued, or does it mean when the CRC sends the invoice or when the invoice is paid? It's not clear, so I'd really respectfully request that a frequently asked question be added to the website so that individuals are clear as to when their conditional timeframe starts, because it's very important. That's all for today. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. And again, if there is a patient access issue, please report it to our customer service. We definitely want to know. Nate, Mel, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to say hello and thank you to the CRC for giving us time to speak during these meetings. I would like to address the same concern that was commented on earlier in regards to the 365-day timeline for final inspection in NJ-CRC 1730. My name is Nate Maley, and I am the CEO of Ascension Cannabis Brands. Our company has been conditionally licensed, and we have begun planning for our construction project. However, we're being informed of major delays in the construction supply chain. We've met with multiple general contractors that have all confirmed current 12-month delays on essential construction materials like electric power transformers and roof insulation. There is a potential that these supply chain issues keep a large percentage of new conditional licensees from being able to complete construction and final inspection within 365 days of the notice of approval on conversion applications. We ask that the commission address the language in NJ-CRC 1730-7.14K. Currently, the language says that a licensed applicant must undergo a final on-site assessment yielding a determination of compliance within 365 days of the notice of approval, or the commission shall decline to issue the annual license approval and the license shall be returned to the commission. This language currently provides no flexibility to the commission and does not allow them to determine if a license applicant needs more time than 365 days due to circumstances and delays beyond the license applicant's control. We ask that the commission adjust this language to give itself the flexibility of determining extenuating circumstances, but also give us as licensees the security that the millions of dollars we need to invest in the construction of these projects is not at risk if supply chain issues delay our progress beyond 365 days. We want to express to the commission that we think it is of the utmost importance that we as operators and you as regulators work together as a team to get this industry off of the ground in New Jersey. We as licensees are all facing issues in our economy that will directly affect the timeline of our construction projects. We ask that the commission acknowledge these challenges and make the necessary adjustments to the language and the regulations. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. The next 5, Judith F. Despommier, Judith F. Despommier, Edwin Gutierrez, Michael J. Law Jr., Alpesh Patel, Terry Wild. Judith F. Despommier, Edwin Gutierrez, Michael J. Law Jr., Alpesh Patel, and Terry Wild. Alpesh Patel, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello. I'd like to thank the board for doing what they've done so far, but I'd also like to throw myself upon your mercy and just beg and for any sort of answer as to what is going on with our application. We know that there's priority. We applied as a women-owned minority business at 9:02 a.m. Director Brown, if what you're saying is true, that there's only X amount, I think you said 64 applications that are left to get a review. If there's some of those had a ton of deficiencies and some of them are not going for conditional application, how is it possible that nobody has contacted us? We should have bonus points. So I'm begging anybody from the CRC to talk to us, because as of the time of our application, we did have full township approval. We had our site approvals. I had legal control of the building. We even have a letter of recommendation from the union. We've done everything possible. And according to the numbers, we should have been reviewed by now. So I don't know if there's an error in the system. And I know last month when we had this meeting, the chairwoman Hunani told us to email licensing at CRC and they would be responsive, but they've been far from. And I literally sent them an email as we were still in that meeting, and I got a response saying we're under review. So how can we be under review for 30 days, have not heard anything, and we're told, well, you know, some of the applications are this and some of them are that. Well, we don't fall under that. We should have been reviewed. We should have at least gotten a phone call. It's to the point where I'm double checking our application. Maybe I've made the wrong email. Maybe we made the wrong phone number. We've been waiting over 140 days at this point. We're a class 5 application. We're woman-owned, we're minority. We should have had bonus points to where we were in line. So I don't understand how we have not been reviewed. I have sent countless emails to that address, and the only thing I've gotten is a general, well, you're under review. Well, then how come nobody's talked to us? At this point, I can get township to send in letter of preference the moment the CRC just reaches out to us. So Director Brown, I'm begging you, please, somebody call us. There's nobody to call. There's nobody to talk to. There's no response. Please, I'm just begging. Thank you.
Thank you. The next 5. Kevin McCallan, Jacob Kaufman, Trent Brinkowski, Thomas Marino, Osbert Orduno. Kevin McCallan, Jacob Kaufman, Trent Brinkowski, Thomas Marino, Osbert Orduno. Are any of those individuals present? Kevin McCallan, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kevin Michelin. I've been working with cannabis businesses and investors in the cannabis industry since 2017. I'm speaking today hoping to learn in real time the answers to questions that most, if not all, stakeholders of the New Jersey cannabis industry have. To the extent these questions cannot be answered now, it'd be helpful to have information that provides better understanding of licensing status, timing, etc., at each public meeting, if not more frequently. The 5 questions today are: first, is an application for which a submission is made to cure an application deemed incomplete treated as applied for on the date the application was originally submitted or the date of the cure submission? Second, what is the lowest priority group included in the conditional Class 5 retail license applications approved today? Third, when can we expect the next priority group of Class 5 conditional license applications to be approved? 4, will a public meeting like this be scheduled for August? 5th and last, can we expect the number of personal use cannabis business applications for approval at each public meeting to remain between 79 to 81? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Jacob Kaufman, go ahead. Mr. Kaufman, go ahead.
You hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Dear CRC members, first, thank you very much for the wonderful work you are doing for the people of New Jersey. My name is Jacob Kaufman, and I am a team member of Rooted LLC, a conditional license applicant for a retail store. According to our understanding, there is a geographical issue in selecting the location of the retail stores, whereby applicants are considered in certain area while other areas are not well served. After long thoughts, Rooted team decide we will be interested in opening our retail store in any geographic area in the state of New Jersey, where the CRC believes more presence is required in order to serve the local population. That is, we are ready to invest in opening our store anywhere in New Jersey where retail stores are needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Trent Brinkowski, go ahead.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for giving me a moment to speak, and I appreciate everyone being here. My name is Trent Brinkowski. I'm the owner of Blue Harvest LLC, and I just wanted to make a couple comments. The first one is, in the current regulations, it says that the commission will evaluate the 37 license cap on standard cultivation licenses. I believe it's in February of 2023. And I just wanted to say that we recommend that you prepare to allow for more cultivators Because as it stands as a micro business, I would like to, I guess, envision and have the ability to achieve economy of scale and become one of these standard licenses in the future. My fear is that if we're too centralized, that we will not be incentivizing quality, and I don't want to see that happen, because as of right now, the quality seems to be pretty poor based off of my personal experience and others who have been using recreational product in the state. So that's the first thing. And additionally, I'd like to make a comment about a portion of the regulations regarding changing location for an impact zone business. I'm not sure if I mentioned that we are an impact zone business, but right now we're approved in a town, and we're finding it very difficult to find a location and secure a location here. And based off of how 1730 6.5a is written, it seems as though we can move to another location or change our approved location to another location rather upon conversion application. But I've heard some people say that the CRC has said this is not possible. You cannot move to a different impact zone, or you cannot move to a different town, even if you hire from an impact zone. So I guess want some clarification on 1730 6.5a 1 through 3. Is it interpreted 1 and 2 or 3, or is it 1 and 2 or 3? I guess, I'm not an attorney, so it's a little difficult for me to interpret it, but that may be redundant information. I just wanted to put it out there. And yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me some time.
Thank you for your comment. Thomas Marino, go ahead.
How you doing? Thomas Marino here, speaking on behalf of the Social Leaf. So we just have a few questions, and first I want to thank you for the opportunity. And our first question is, we're trying to figure out what the definitive answer of rejection is, as far as like what disqualifies you. Because from our understanding, when you look at your website, it says specific things, but it doesn't clarify how far and specific it goes. Because at the end it says or the CRC could just make a decision to disqualify you and feel that you're not fit. Another thing is, once rejected, is there a process to reapply, and what is that process? And another question that we do have is the time frame. We applied for regular annual, and we're trying to figure out what the time frame is so we could put the rest of, we have all our ducks in order. We want to move on with the process and start moving forward, and we're trying to figure out what the time frame is. After approval, and then after approval, what steps we have to take, how many different certifications do we have to get, like approvals from like the health department, the CRC, all the steps we have to take after approval, so we know. This way we don't go back and forth with the CRC, thinking we're done, and then the CRC's, oh well, you have to do this. So we want to know what all the steps are. And final question is about delivery and pickup windows. And are they included with the approval, or do you have to apply for them separately? And that's all I have.
Thank you very much for your comment. Just a reminder that questions regarding licenses or license applications may be sent to crc.licensing@crc.nj.gov. That email address is on our website. Osbert Ordonia, go ahead. Osbert, you may go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Osbert Orduña. I am the CEO of the Cannabis Place. We're a Class 5 dispensary applicant. I also serve as the co-chair of the National Hispanic Cannabis Council Tri-State Chapter. My comment is I would like to encourage the CRC to consider having a special meeting in August and/or an additional meeting in early September to allow for the additional reporting of any licensing updates that occur between today and the date of the next meeting. The CRC has and continues to make great strides, which should be reported as they occur rather than waiting an extended period of time between meetings. This will greatly assist all applicants, especially social equity and diversity held license applicants who are currently paying costs for real estate, holding costs, interest on borrowed funds, and additional expenses that small businesses do not have the luxury of affording on a long-term basis. This quicker reporting of licensing updates will allow small businesses to finalize their licensing, their municipal approvals and processes, and to begin hiring and building out so that they can serve as a platform for community impact and economic empowerment in the respective communities that they're looking to launch their dispensary operations. I yield back the rest of my time, and I would just like to say thank you and appreciate the consideration of this request on behalf of all applicants.
Thank you so much. Carrie Wiles, go ahead. Carrie Wiles,
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you. I would definitely like to echo the comments of the last gentleman, if that's possible. So I would just like to say that thanks for giving me the time to speak. I am the founder and CEO of Essence Greenery. I am a disabled veteran, and the company is a certified disabled veteran-owned business through obviously the New Jersey Department of Treasury, which lands us in priority 2 on the CRC's priority review list. We initially submitted our applications for cultivation and manufacturing on December 15 and 16, respectively. Application ID numbers 1172 and 1197. I am not discouraged, nor am I losing hope. We are simply just scratching our heads, obviously. There isn't a scheduled CRC meeting in August, so we'll look forward to September in that way. So I did receive a cure letter for additional entity disclosure forms for my investors on March 16th. And that information was submitted back to the CRC on March 22nd. I personally know 3 other businesses in the marketplace that also received cure letters in March that have already received approvals. One of them was actually approved in the March meeting, which took place a week after they turned in all their cure documents. I know each case is different, but considering that we are priority 2 on the priority review list, we assume that we would have seen some movement by now. I will note that the CRC staff has been very responsive to emails and calls, but still without offering any solid answers, which I assume they just cannot because of the process, right? I will mention that one of your the directors did reach out to me personally to let me know that the cure to our applications was accepted, and we are still in the review process. And I thought that was exceptional, and I thanked her. But it doesn't help that we continue to see application numbers below us and ahead of us make it on the list. So in closing, I would just like to say that we are holding the faith for an affirmative approval here soon, and we are eager to get started. Thanks for listening to me speak. Thank you for all you continue to do for our great state and this new marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next 5 are Scott Bent, Scott Bent, Hugh Giordano, Raymond Cantor, and Benjamin Alcantara. That is Scott Bent, Hugh Giordano, Raymond Cantor, and Benjamin Alcantara. If you are present, please raise your hand. Scott Bent, go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much for allowing me to take this time to speak. I want to say much respect to Chairwoman Bueno, the Vice Chair Delgado, and all the commissioners. I became aware of the CRC maybe about a year ago or so. Time moving quick, but I became instantly a fan when I recognized the mission that you all were given and the heart of the way that you all wanted to build this market to be a market that did not opened its doors widely to the existing millionaires and built a market that could be solidly representative of the communities that have been impacted by the war on drugs, which, on a side note to those of you all speaking against cannabis in your community, you have been, you've had the wool pulled over your eyes. You've been misinformed. And we have medical professionals who never were taught that there is an endocannabinoid system, that your body produces cannabinoids, that your body interacts with cannabinoids, which is a part of what cannabis is. So for those of you all who are still battling against what you've been misinformed with the war on drugs, take a deeper look at what cannabis can do for you and your community, not fighting against it, but actually including it in your and how you handle the people who have been misinformed with it, because it has great benefits. But I get sidetracked here. I was a great fan of it in what you all were trying to do, and making a one license at a time, so that people needed to depend upon each other and build the market together, and it could be strengthened by minorities, by women, by disabled veterans coming together, by others working together and building a strong market for small businesses. But I would encourage you today to get your focus back on track, because you are failing miserably. There is not one approved annual application. There is a bunch of people with a lot of questions, but there are doors wide open for the existing millionaires to make more millions. You actually took time to create a pathway so that these people could open an ATC and instantly go recreational. What does that mean? That means they can be retail, they can be cultivators, they can be manufacturers. They can do everything that you have limited everybody else from not being able to do, as long as they have the $1 million to make it happen. You're failing at your mission. Get your focus back on track. It is time for this market to really be different, like it was supposed to be. I know that your heart is in the right place, but you're being political pawns, and I urge you to stand your ground or step away from it as a statement to make them accountable for what they're supposed to do and getting these applications and these people in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Hugh Giordano, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Excellent, thank you. Chair, Vice Chair, and other honorable commissioners, along with Director Brown and all the great employees of the CRC. Always good to be on. Just want to give you an update and with a couple comments in regards to some issues that may affect workers and our members here in New Jersey that work at the facilities. We are in contract negotiations with GTI, Ascend, and the Botanist. We are looking to certify some legal documents in regards to Harmony dispensary and cultivation sites so that we can begin collective bargaining. Same thing with Justice Grown. We were looking to begin collective bargaining with Justice Grown, aka Block, in the near future. I have some comments in regards to the meetings themselves for the future. I would like to suggest that the CRC consider a hybrid model of a feature of these meetings using the Zoom and in person. The reason is twofold. One, workers unfortunately will have to either be on the line or listen on their break. And there's no way they'll be able to be part of the conversation or hear the conversation if there is no access via Zoom. This also gives our union members at these facilities from seed to sale the opportunity to comment during public session and take their break to do so. I think it's important for workers to be involved in all conversations, just as patients and owners and other groups are. These folks deserve to be heard, and I hope that you will consider that. The technology is already here, we're already doing it, and I hope that that will be a consideration for the entire commission. The second thing that I would like to suggest is that in regards to workplace standards, I hope that you will protect workers' rights in regards to using off the clock for adult use, and also in regards to the medical patients who are working. We understand that if they have a job that is federally regulated, then there's issues there. But outside of that, we would hope that folks will be respected for their time off the job and also medical patients. Workers must be able to be part of the industry at all levels, whether it's consuming and or working in it. And we don't want to see our members attacked for using cannabis as opposed to drinking alcohol on the weekend. So thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Always appreciate you. UFCW always loves to see new licensing. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ray Cantor, go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Ray Cantor. I am with the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. I want to thank the chair and the members of the commission for allowing me to testify today. As you know, since the very beginning, we have been very concerned with workplace safety issues. We appreciate the comments today of the chair and the executive director, and from the last meeting as well, stating that we are going to be issuing guidelines or guidance imminently concerning workplace safety issues. We have spoken to staff. We are encouraged by the progress you are now making. We would just encourage you to continue making that progress and to get the guidance out as expeditiously as possible. The employer community needs this guidance in order to ensure safe workplaces, and also to protect the rights of employees, as the previous speaker had mentioned. We all want to do the right thing. We just need to know what we are allowed to do and how to do it. So we are encouraged by the progress being made. We thank you for taking this very seriously, and we look forward to seeing the guidance as soon as practicable. Thank you.
Thank you. Benjamin Alcantara, go ahead. Benjamin Alcantara, go ahead. Alcantara. Going once.
Hello, you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So the reason I wanted to speak today is probably the same reason the first spoke, and it was in regards to the whole process. We're basically doing a dual application with the state and an application with the city. And basically, the way I've seen it is it doesn't matter how many conditional applications the state approves. The people that actually hold the power is the municipalities. And they are very hard to get in contact with. And I'm a previous license holder from Oregon, and I had nowhere near the amount of work that I had to go through to get a license over there. I don't see the reason why I need to hire a lawyer because he knows somebody in the municipality to make it easier for me. And for example, I currently have a conditional license for a cultivation facility. I was able to find a facility in New Brunswick. I came to lease terms with the owner, but when I contacted New Brunswick, they already gave all their sponsorships back in the fall, even before the applications for rec went out. So I don't know how they were able to just give out sponsorships and totally disregard the priority. My business is a social equity, diversity and women owned, but that priority is only applies at the state level. It gets thrown out at the municipality level. And another big problem is that a lot of the conditional license or a lot of the applicants that are applying as minority or social equity are just out-of-state businesses that are coming in using New Jersey residents for the application and doing deals where they're gonna kick out the New Jersey residents in 2 years. They have the advantage of already been working in other states, so they have the money to get the property, they got the money to do the construction, and they have the money to hire the lawyers. So we are at a total disadvantage when it comes to this whole process. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I don't know what changes can be done, but that's the situation. I know other conditional license holders, and they're at the point where they just gonna give up and not continue with the process because of this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chairwoman, that was the last registered speaker for today.
Thank you, Director Blake, and thank you to all the members of the public who provided input this afternoon. I believe this concludes the business before us today. Are there any new matters or are there any new business for the commission to consider at this time?
Madam Chairwoman, may I have the floor, please?
Vice Chair Delgado, go ahead.
Madam Chairwoman and commissioners, as regulators, we have to be aware and cognizant of schedules in the marketplace. Regulator schedules very often do not coincide with marketplace schedules. We have applicants right now that we've heard from that are awaiting this commission's consent to move forward in their licensing process. We have equity, we have diverse, we have women, we have non-diverse, we have veteran applicants as well as existing operators that are operating right now that are awaiting our decisions to schedule municipal zoning with municipal zoning boards or city council approvals and other standing issues that we as regulators may not even be aware of in the marketplace. These applicants and businesses have consultants, they have legal and lease payments to make. To some, a delay may make or even break them financially or be extremely expensive, costly. So that's why I feel that this commission and staff should use August to challenge ourselves, circle the wagon, and go the extra mile. Let's schedule a meeting for the first week of September and move this marketplace forward. I hope all my fellow commissioners will support me with a unanimous vote to amend September's schedule. But equally as important, I hope that Executive Director Brown and his staff will also support me. So with that, I move that we amend our September schedule from September 22nd to the first week of September, right after Labor Day.
I second that.
All right, there's been a motion to amend the September schedule. And Vice Chair, I just want to make sure I get the language correctly. From the September 22nd to the
first week of September, Madam Chairwoman.
The first week of September.
Yes.
And Commissioner Nash seconded the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote as it relates to the motion to amend the September schedule from September 22nd to the first week of September?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Coso,
No.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
No.
The motion passes.
Is there any further new business for the commission to consider at this time? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Madam Chair. Seconded.
Moved to adjourn by, motion to adjourn by Commissioner Del Coso, Commissioner Nash, seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the ayes have it and the motion passes. Thank you all for joining today's meeting. Please visit our website to continue to view the calendar for our for the rest of our meetings for the rest of the year. Thank you so much. The time is now 4:35 p.m. and we are now adjourned. Have a great evening, everyone.